Hi everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Tacoma Cyclist. I am the Tacoma Cyclist, and with me as always is my sidekick, the Boogeyman. Today we're going to be reviewing this. A collection of jerseys and tops from Sugoi out of their RS series for cold weather riding. As is usual, we're going to tell you a couple of the things that we like about this and a couple of the things that we don't like about this. Unfortunately, since we only have this in adult size, the Boogeyman doesn't really get to weigh in on this particular product other than how cool it makes me look. You might be wondering why it is that I'm talking about cold weather gear when we're about to hit springtime. Well, the fact is that springtime is still a little ways off, and we do have some early races coming up. And frankly, some of those early start times on the early season races can still be pretty chilly, so it's still relevant. Also, one of the other nice things about talking about cold weather gear this time of the year is that for the most part, you can find these things on clearance at various bike shops, online, anywhere you might find your typical bike clothing, and you can usually get really good prices on closeout winter gear. So this is actually a great time to be talking about cold weather riding gear. Even if you buy it now and only use it a couple more rides, you're going to get plenty of use out of it next year, and you can potentially save yourself as much as 50 or even 70% on purchasing these things. So for the base layer itself, it's a very lightweight material, and the interesting thing about it is the pattern that you see on the material actually disappears when you put it on your body. So it goes from having that gray weaved pattern into being just a plain white jersey, or a plain white top. I don't know that that necessarily does anything other than ups the cool factor a little bit, but it certainly does up the cool factor. So as you put it on, as you see it start to work, as you feel it start to work, you can actually see where it's working. So areas where it's close to your body, you can actually see the change in the pattern on the jersey itself. As far as in use, we've had the opportunity to ride in some pretty dang cold weather this winter, and I've been using the base layer the entire time. Sometimes I'll actually even double up, especially if we're going out riding in the lower 20s or upper teens. It just never hurts to have a few extra layers on. But in this case, most of the time I go out riding, even in the 20s and lower 30s, I've been using just this base layer, just this jersey, and then I'll put on top an additional team jersey just to kind of add some layers and depth. If I get really cold, I've been known to maybe put on a pair of arm warmers underneath of the jersey, or a jacket over top even still. But I've only had to do that a couple times, and for the most part, a simple base layer, the red and black jersey, and then the team jersey works just fine. Onto the jersey itself. This is not the only Sugoi product that I have. I do have a couple pairs of their bib shorts as well, which I absolutely love. I think they have some of the best chamois in the business. This particular jersey, the red on it is, well, red. It's very red. My team kit is red, but a lot of people mistake it for orange. His team kit is red. Actually, he's jumping over to my team now too, so his team kit's going to have that reddish orange. But I can tell you, not all reds are the same, and in this particular case, this is a bright, deep red. So just be aware of that. If you have a kit that maybe has a different color red to it, or a red that doesn't just seem really, really deep, and you want to pair this with that, the reds aren't going to match. Frankly, I don't care. I've worn my kit over top of it, and it works. For the remaining portions of this review, I'm going to do a quick wardrobe change. As you can see, the jersey itself is rather a form-fitting jersey, which I particularly like, especially for cold weather gear. I find that a lot of cold weather gear in general is loose or baggy or is not necessarily designed to hug the body very well, which is kind of frustrating. I don't like going out for a winter ride and then finding myself going slow just because I'm pulling a sail behind me with a big flappy jersey. So I find that this particular jersey, being rather close in and being rather tight, is actually a very positive thing. It's not tight in a restrictive kind of way, tight as in more of a supportive, compressive type way. So the interesting thing about this jersey also is that the zip does go all the way up the throat, so it actually acts a little bit like a neck gate, so you can actually keep your neck nice and warm. Sometimes actually, even once you start getting moving, it's a little too warm. I find myself unzipping this, especially in just this combination here, which is the jersey and the base layer. I find myself riding with it about 2/3 of the way up. Now the other nice thing I like about this is that it is a full zip. I don't understand why it is that companies are still making 1/4 zip or 1/2 zip jerseys anymore. It's frustrating. I just don't understand it. So I like to see things like this that are a full zip. It just makes things a lot easier overall. There's a lot of nice touches to this jersey. Again, note the extremely deep red color. even in comparison to the helmet here, it's a slightly different red. So just be aware of that. If you get the Sugoi Pro Line bib shorts, the red that's on those is actually the same red, so they typically match pretty well. There are a couple really nice touches to this jersey as well. Number one, the zipper itself is a rubberized zipper, so even when you have gloves on, you can zip it and unzip it rather easily. It grabs quite nicely. It is fully backed. I rode this yesterday in the pouring rain and forgot my jacket at home, and while I did get completely and totally soaked, it was kind of a gradual thing over time. It wasn't that all of the water came directly in through the zipper, which most jerseys, especially those without these kind of backings, any water just goes straight in through the zipper instantly. It took a while for me to get completely saturated, which is kind of nice. We were out for 3.5 hours in the pouring rain, and I really didn't get miserable until about a half an hour from the end. Again, very nice material overall. The stitching on this is extremely well done. There are no bad stitches. A couple nice touches here. There are some reflective bits on this. There is no iPhone or headphone pass-through on this, which I don't really care about personally. If I'm going to wear headphones while I'm riding, I typically like people to be able to see the fact that I have a cable so that they know I have a headphone in anyway. The inside of the material of the jersey itself is a very nice micro fleece material, and this feels really good. If you're not wearing a base layer, it's really smooth on the skin. It doesn't hurt, it doesn't chafe in any way. And that material is throughout the entire jersey, so you don't have just portions of it that are lined and other portions that aren't. The jersey overall is extremely warm. As I'm standing here, I'm actually getting quite hot just standing here in the house. So again, tested on this with the base layer and this jersey and then a mesh jersey over top. I've happily ridden down into the lower 30s, upper 20s, and not really had any issues with it as long as I had long finger gloves on. As is usual, we like to weigh anything that we're going to review. In this particular case, the base layer weighs in at 110 grams, relatively light overall. And the jersey weighs in at a rather heavy 370 grams. So overall, I really like this kit. Great attention to details. I think everything about this jersey is fantastic. My only reservation is the color, which frankly you can just buy in a different color if the red doesn't work for you. If you do buy the red, just bear in mind it's probably not going to match with any other red that you have unless it happens to be in Sugoi's line already. So again, wonderful attention to detail, great zippers, very smooth operation, fully lined. This is a very warm kit. Again, 25 to 35 degrees, really no problem, especially if you focus on putting some layers on. Overall sizing seems to be pretty accurate on the Sugoi website. This is a medium size. I have a 38-inch chest and a 32-inch waist, and the medium fits me perfectly. Again, it's snug, but it's not restrictive in any way. It just adds a nice compression that helps to keep you warm while you're riding. Thanks again for visiting the Tacoma Cyclist. I hope you enjoyed this short product review. Be sure to subscribe and check back for new reviews frequently. Thanks. You know, you can have an expression on your face. Here you go. You get pissed off.